Man, the other day you hit me, man. You had a lot on your mind. You had a whole lot on your mind, actually. I mean, it was probably a 20-minute conversation, but I hadn't heard that kind of fire from you in a minute. I it's when you're a creator, man. Like your conversations are different because that conversation was what came from a real place, but it was like, wait, we need to unpack this on a pod because not only do is it therapeutic for us, but man, the people need to hear this because there are people out here going through the same thing, going through similar. Man, give us some of that. Give us some of that fire you gave me the other day, man.
I mean, just for the most part, man, I think a conversation needs to be had as far as if you're an employee, knowing your value in the workplace, okay? Knowing what you bring to the marketplace. If you're an employee, then there's another conversation that needs to be had. If you're the employer, knowing the employees that have value, right?
Okay.
And how do we find this balance to make it all work and make it to where everybody's happy? Because those relationships cannot be one-sided, man, or you'll always be in a bind, man. And I think this will be a good conversation because I mean, I'm an employee and you're more on the hiring side. You do the employing, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm using the word correctly, but you have more of a administrator role. So you would be able to kind of speak to that and or speak to both sides. We can just have a decent, honest conversation about this, man.
Yeah. So I heard you say that you'll always be in a bind. What do you mean by being a bind?
Let me open up with an example, man. And I'm gonna use a real life example of somebody who's a little more well known than me. Don't nobody know me, fam, except for the whoever listens to this pod. Shonda Rhimes, man. Mm-hmm. Shonda Rhimes is a woman at ABC who created 3 popular shows: How to Get Away with Murder, mm-hmm. Scandal, Grey's Anatomy. Mm-hmm. I've never sat and watched an episode of these shows, but they're so popular that I hear about them. Now, check this out. At one point, these shows were running back to back to back to back, man. So you would think that the woman who created these shows would be able to do whatever she wants to do at ABC because the shows are on the network ABC. She opened up recently, man. In 2017, Shonda Rhimes left ABC. We didn't know why. For those that were checking up on that, we didn't know why, but she revealed this year why she left. Would you believe that she left over a $154 Disney World ticket? In Shonda Rhimes' contract, it stated that she would have access tickets to Disney World or whatever, and she would go on the regular with her nanny, her children, whatever. This particular case, she couldn't go to Disney World or Disneyland, so she let her nanny go, and she requested a ticket from her for her sister. Shonda Rhimes' ticket wasn't. She couldn't pass it off to somebody else. Whatever you want to call that, she couldn't do it. So she called ABC and she said, "Hey, can I get a ticket for my sister?" And they gave her a hard time about that. And me just sitting on the outside listening to this story, I'm like, why would you give one of the people who created these super popular shows on your network, why would you give her a hard time? Why would you give Michael Jordan a hard time? Why you let Michael Jordan do what he wants to do. That's the unwritten rule or written rule, however you want to look at it. Anywho, they gave her a hard time about it. But then they gave her the ticket. She got the ticket, gave it to her sister. Her sister gets to the gate and she can't get in. So her sister calls Shonda Rhimes like, hey, look, I can't get in. Shonda Rhimes is like, oh, let me take care of it. Let me call somebody at ABC. She calls somebody at ABC. They give her a hard time. Don't you have enough tickets? What, you need more tickets? Da, da, da. So Shonda Rhimes said, oh, thank you. Don't even worry about it. And she got on the phone with her lawyer and she said, so check this out, man. If you want to keep your job, you have no other option than to get me off of ABC and get me to Netflix because I know my value and it's no way I'm staying here. So I'm going to pack my value up and take it with me. And I say all that to say, as an employer, when you look at ABC, the employer, when you have once in a lifetime talent like that, you don't let them out the building because they have value. Not only do you not let them out the building, you let them kind of do what they want, man, as long as they're producing. And when you look at that example, man, that I just have given you, I know it was a rant, I know it was drawn out, but when you look at that example and you kind of put that in normal everyday terms, you have a lot of corporations, you have a lot of school districts, you have a lot of businesses that don't value their Michael Jordans. Okay? You have some employees working for these people who are Michael Jordan, but they're not being valued. Now, you got some people that don't know their value and they'll just hang around and take whatever. But then you got some cats that's like, wait a minute, let me take my ball. See, remember when you used to go hoop at the basketball court, man? If you were the one who brought the basketball that everybody played with, you had the power because you got the ball. If you don't want to play no more, ain't nobody playing. You could take your ball and you could go. And that's what I'm urging all my people who have that Michael Jordan energy at your job or wherever. If you're not getting what you want, or they're not trying to meet you halfway, man, take your ball and go play on another court, man. So I know I went on a whole rant and we're going to unpack some things, but where do you sit with what I just said, man?
So as far as the Michael Jordan energy, I think I don't even think it's necessarily that you have to be a Michael Jordan. I think value kind of starts with starring in your role. Like whatever role you have, you need to star in that role because everybody brings something different to the table, right? We can go back to a basketball analogy, right? Patrick Beverley is no Michael Jordan, but I think we can both agree that he brings a lot of value with him. He does a lot of intangible things that some people aren't willing to do. He's willing to go toe-to-toe with LeBron James on the floor. He's willing to put his body on the line. He's willing to go after loose balls. He's willing to just play 94 feet. His nickname is Mr. 94 feet because he's playing 100% of that court, 100% of the time that he's out there. That's value. That's a lot of value. Years ago, I used to use the example about Shane Battier. He was like the statless superstar kind of guy because while you might look at the stat sheet and think Shane didn't show up, if you actually watch the film, you see that Shane shows up every day and does a lot of amazing things on the court. So when you're talking about value, it's not so much, you don't have to just be this Michael Jordan kind of guy. But you have to star in your role. And whatever your role is, you should maximize what it is you bring to the table. So now some people don't realize that just because they aren't the star player, that they have a lot of value. And that's where you kind of get where people end up stuck at the same, dead end position year after year after year after year, because they didn't realize their value. They didn't realize that, hey, what I'm doing is making this company a lot of money, whether I see it or not. So, that's where, and those people are going to always shortchange themselves because they're never going to test that. They're not going to test the market because they don't get it. Maybe they don't know how to sell themselves to a future employer on their skill set. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't know what they bring to the table. Maybe they don't understand the value that they bring because they aren't that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant type of guy. But absolutely, man, like if you have pride in what you do and you bring value, you're not just going to let anyone just treat you any kind of way, any employer handle you any kind of way, any kind of leader or manager handle you any type of way, because you know what you brought to the table, and you know that what you're bringing to the table can be valuable outside of this organization. Inside this organization, it's up to them. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. But, on the issue of value, man, like you really have to evaluate what you bring to the table and maximize it. Like, I think, like I said, I think everybody has something they can bring to the table. It's just a matter of bringing it out, and whatever it is, you need to star in it.
Yep. Okay. Let me go back to something you said, man. And you said something for the people who are listening who may not follow basketball. Patrick Beverley is this incredible role player. Shane Battier was this incredible role player. Now, the analogy or the example you used, Jarvis, you said Patrick Beverley will play 94 feet, give you 100%, and he'll go guard LeBron. Now, here's the thing I'm gonna pick apart with that analogy, Jarvis. I could replace Patrick Beverley with Chris Paul, with Damian Lillard, or whoever, all-star point guard. But I can't. Who I'm gonna replace LeBron with? Who I'm gonna replace Kobe with? Who I'm gonna replace Michael Jordan with? Man, and when we talk about now, you could have value in these spots that you said, man. You could be let's just keep it a buck, man. You could be the greatest janitor that's ever wiped the floor. But I tell you what, man, they could get you out the building and find another janitor that can wipe the floor. He may not wipe the floor as well as you did, but as long as he gets it clean, that gets the job done. But if Jarvis is coming into this particular organization and bringing in $8 million a year or whatever the crazy numbers are, and you remove him and you bring 3-4 other guys in that's only bringing $500,000 in a year, hey man, that's different value, my guy. We got to do what we need to do to keep Jarvis, because he gets them numbers moving, man. These other guys ain't moving the numbers like Jarvis. Of course, this other guy can mop a floor. But if we get rid of him, if he's feeling himself too much, we could go find somebody that could clean, good enough, and we can move on. So I do think that, man, it's different levels of value, man. It's different levels of value. And when you have star player value, hey man, that star player might get he may get to bend the rules a little bit, man. And if you're not producing what he's producing, we can't let you bend the same rules that he could bend. Where are you at on that, man?
Man, as a HR professional, man, like, it's crazy to like kind of hear about, the star person kind of getting this preferential treatment because, hey, he probably provides a little more value than this other person. Does it happen? Of course. Those people that produce things will get swept under the rug for them. It's across the board. So it's kind of disheartening that happens. Is it somewhat unfair? But and that's where those players that are the role players or the ones that don't produce, this is where they play, hey, that's the favoritism card. But at the same time, the reason this guy is the favorite is because he's worked his behind off to be the best. So Absolutely. Sometimes favorite and best are kind of on the same playing field. So, it goes, but Is it necessarily fair? It could go either way. But at the end of the day, it's going to happen. If going back to basketball, your best players get the preferential calls from the referees. They get the benefit of a doubt because they have earned that right to for the referee to say, he probably didn't travel there. I don't think that was a foul on him. I don't think I don't think that was a charge. They've earned that right because of who they are. Same thing in any other workplace. It's going to be, hey, like you said, this guy that's generating an additional $8 million in revenue to a company versus a janitor that is just cleaning the heck out of a toilet. Cleaning
That's just
that
the name of
toilet,
the game.
unfortunately does not generate $8 million in revenue. You could potentially lose some people if the restrooms are dirty, but if you can just replace him with somebody that's doing a decent job, you're gonna be all right. But this guy that's bringing in this mega bucks, you're gonna have to gamble if you have to replace him, because any John, random person that you bring off the street, John or Tim or somebody, hey, they can sell you on an interview and say, oh yeah, I can do this, that, and the third. But this guy is proven though. Like, we know what he brings.
Yes, man. Let me give you an example, man. In my mid early 20s, I was a waiter, man. I used to wait tables, but I worked. Okay, you got what, 30 days in a month, 31 days in a month. I would work like 27 days in a month, man. And I'm working doubles. I'm putting numbers on the board. When you had other cats coming in that they working to pay their cell phone bill or whatever, I was coming in to not play with anybody, and I needed it. And if you got in my way, I had to get you out the paint. Hey man. But anywho, man, I was going to get in my bag. But anyway, man, I would come in late. Sometimes I would come to work, sip a little something on the low, and be a little buzzed. But you know what? They looked the other way because I was producing. Now, if another cat did that, they write him up or fire him or whatever, because he wasn't putting. You would need 1, 2, 3, 4 of him to produce what I was producing. So they let me make it. Was it fair? I don't know. It depends on what you call fair. But was it right? I would say yeah, because if these guys aren't if we're not playing on the same field, if I'm doing more, if I'm taking on more responsibility, you got to let me make it in certain areas. You can't punish Michael Jordan the same way that you would punish Pete Chilcutt. Or excuse me, I might have said that the wrong way, man. You can't punish Pete Chilcutt. Well, anyway, you know what I'm saying, man. I don't know, but you know exactly what I'm saying, man. It's just different. If Michael Jordan comes in a little late, hey, Phil Jackson, you kind of look the other way because Michael Jordan has the ability to drop 60 every day if he wants to. But if BJ Armstrong, Ron Harper come in late, you might make them run a couple extra laps. Because if you don't have Michael Jordan on that team, BJ Armstrong and Ron Harper don't matter. Okay? Yeah, man. Hey, man. This is some good stuff, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. This is my type of stuff, man. Where you at, man?
I love it, man. Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Now, can we break this down, man? Because we just opened up and just went into a whole, wherever.
Mm-hmm.
What does a good manager look like to you? So, and of course, you have experience in this. What does a good manager of people? This guy has to control a situation. He has to manage people. What does that look like to you, man?
So I don't think, especially in this day and age, I don't think you can manage people. I think you have to lead people. I think you manage processes. I think you manage inventory. You manage payroll. You manage resources. But your people, like, you have to lead them. Like, people aren't looking for managers anymore. Like, if you're managing people, you can manage talent. So let's say, you have somebody that's underperforming. Yeah, you gotta go through a process with them to get them out the door. That's different. But when you're talking about actually working with the people and people have to be led. People are looking for leadership. They're not looking for this person to just come in and tell them what to do, how to do it, X, Y, and Z. They're looking for somebody that's leading the way. They're looking for somebody that's willing to take the brunt of the burden of whatever it is that they do. They're looking for somebody who is honest, somebody who has integrity, somebody that holds others accountable, but holds himself accountable first. A lot of times, the disconnect with managers and leaders is going to be that sometimes managers don't hold themselves accountable. Hey, this is what we do. Y'all need to go do it. Leaders, on the other hand, are leading by example by first holding themselves accountable to whatever it is, and then they hold others accountable. Accountability is very much connected to, building a healthy culture in whatever you do. If there's no accountability, people will eventually get frustrated with that culture, and you'll see a lot of people leave because, hey, I can't be held to a standard that nobody else is, or, hey, you pull me in the office for coming in 15 minutes late, but hey, Chris came in 25 minutes late and he's walking around like ain't nothing happened. That's again, that accountability has to be there. So I think those are the things people are looking for. I think they're looking for people who can serve them, who can take care of what they need to take care, like that, whatever they need taken care of, somebody that's checking in with them, making sure they're good, not just on a professional level as well. Especially in 2020, people need to know that you care about them as a person, because that connection of people, because at the end of the day, people lead people. So when they know you see them as a person versus just, hey, this is my employee, it fosters just this natural loyalty. You know what I mean? People are going to be a lot more loyal to somebody that they think that cares about them versus somebody that doesn't. They need somebody that they can trust. If there's no integrity, if there's no trust, like, how can you trust? How can you work for somebody you don't trust? How can you be led by somebody you don't trust? Right? I think they're looking for somebody that they can respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there's just no, and not only just not that they can respect, but that respects them as a human being, respects them as a person. They're looking for somebody that takes ownership of everything. Like, they want somebody that takes ownership of the whole situation and not just cast blame on somebody else because when things get rough. Again, sometimes managers do that. Sometimes managers say, well, we didn't meet our sales goal this year because so-and-so didn't perform, or because this didn't happen. No, we didn't make that because there was a hiccup somewhere with my leadership, right? Maybe I didn't hire the right person. Maybe I didn't have the right person doing this job. Maybe I should have done this. Maybe I should have been more strategic. Maybe when I saw the trend going down, I reacted to it when the trend was going down, not at the end of the year. So just somebody that's going to take that full ownership. Someone that just nurtures a good culture and nurtures their people, helps their people in whatever way that they need help. Like, again, people care about people that they know that care about them. So if I know my leader cares about me and is nurturing me and is helping me along the way, I'm going to have this natural connection with them. I'm going to make sure that they're good because they make sure I'm good. So since they make sure I'm good professionally and personally, I'm going to make sure they're good professionally. And then just a leader that's just also just trying to grow, man. A leader that's trying to constantly take their self to their own leadership to the next level, take the organization to the next level, and then also taking their best performers to the next level. So somebody that's just really fostering a culture of growth and where everybody can succeed and make a lot of money. Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. When we sign up for these jobs, I mean, we can talk about, I think there's a level of passion that has to be connected to what you do to for it to make sense. But at the end of the day, we all sign up for a job. We all apply for a job for this financial compensation. So the more we can make people help people grow and help people get become more financially well off, like the more people again are going to be loyal to you. So people are looking for leaders; they're not looking for managers.
Okay, okay, I like that. Man, I heard you say something, man, and it's kind of something that I opened up with, and we kind of spearheaded or whatever. And I want to ask you, do you think there should be fair treatment across the board? Now, before you answer that, Jar, again, some people just gonna put up numbers, and then others aren't gonna put up the same numbers that others are. So when we talk about value, man, if we're looking in black and white, some people gonna have a little more value than the next man. So do you think that there should be fair treatment across the board? Everybody's treated the exact same amount of fair, for a lack of better terms.
So in terms of fair, yes, I do believe everybody deserves to be treated fairly, because at the end of the day, again, people are people. People deserve to be treated the same way, right? But when you're talking about somebody that's producing, right? This person that's producing should be awarded opportunities that the people that aren't producing as much can't be. So this is the person that should be up for promotion. This is the person that should be up for bonuses. This is the person that should be, should have the company behind them, right? Now, if you're talking about people who are underperforming or not performing at this person's level, so is this person that's up here, is he exceeding expectation? So if he's exceeding expectations, he should be that one that's next up. He should be next up for the next regional position. He should be any bonus opportunities. He should be getting those. So if you have somebody that's just meeting the expectation, like, why would you treat them any different? They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They just aren't. Maybe they aren't as charismatic as this guy. That's why they can't close as many deals. Maybe they don't work as long hours as he does. That's why they don't have the time to close as many deals. Like, we don't know. Like, maybe this person has 4 or 5 kids at home and they don't have time to put in 12, 13 hours like this guy that's producing. Because most of the time people that produce is because they're doing things that others aren't doing. And maybe they're able to do things that others aren't doing. If you look at people that are in like the early stages of their career, like people that are fresh out of college in their mid to late 20s, those are going to be your most highly productive people because they're going to be fresh. They're going to be, but guess what? They also probably don't come with all the baggage that somebody that's 35, 40 might have. So they're able to do long hours and come in and be the first one in, the last one out, and fighting tooth and nail for every little thing to prove themselves. It doesn't discredit that person that's just coming in and doing their 8 hours and getting back to their kids. It doesn't. So it wouldn't be fair to them not to get the same treatment in their meeting. Now, if you have somebody that's not meeting productivity, it's not meeting their quota, that's where we should probably be looking at, okay, should this person be working for us? If they can at least meet expectations, is this a person that really needs to be on my team? And if this person can't fix that and meet expectations, they probably shouldn't be on the team. So again, it's fair across the board. This guy that's overproducing gets the opportunities, gets the bonuses, gets the recognition from the company and whatnot. The person that's meeting, they go home, they get their check. They don't have no smoke with the company. The company don't have no smoke with them. But then this underperformer might need to be dealt with.
Man, okay, let me ask you this, man. This just came to me while you were talking, and of course, you don't have to say where you work or nothing. Do you feel appreciated at your job?
I don't think that we'll ever feel 100% appreciated for what we do. Because so much of what you do doesn't go noticed or isn't, like, especially for somebody like me, like, I don't brag on every little thing I do or every little thing. So like a lot of those things just don't necessarily get discovered unless somebody speaks up and like, man, so and so did this, da, 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 you know. So I mean, do I feel valued, or you said appreciated? There are moments where, you know, yes, you feel appreciated that the company will do things for you and whatnot. But I think overall, I don't think that you'll ever be satisfied with the level of recognition or appreciation the company has for you, because the better you are, the more you are doing for the company. And here's the thing: people get kind of numb to your production. Like it just kind of becomes normal. You know what I'm saying? Like if you know, if you're this all-star, they're used to you making the all-star team every year, so it's nothing new. Um, so somebody that doesn't produce like you and they actually produce, they might get that recognition and appreciation. You're like, fam, I've been doing I do what they do in my sleep. But because they stepped up, it stands out more. But because you're great at what you do, because people just aren't gonna gravitate, and at the end of the day, sometimes people just have winner's fatigue, man. Winner's fatigue is a real thing, man. That people get tired of seeing you win, and they might just be like, back in the 90s, man, people used to be mad at Michael Jordan because he won every year. You know, people can say, oh, he's the greatest now. I remember the 90s, and people were like, man, everybody and their mama was rooting for Utah to win that last NBA Finals because they didn't want to see Jordan win. I remember that, you know, but people, you know, are quick to say, oh, he's the GOAT. Just like they're doing LeBron now, just like they did the Warriors. People get tired of seeing the same people win all the time. It's just human nature. So having said that, people are going to get numb to your success.
Is that okay though? Okay, I understand the winner's fatigue, and you know, people gonna expect, you know, greatness may be your expectation. Every time Jarvis comes in, it's great. So, you know, he's on my team, whatever, I'm gonna take it for granted. Cool, you know, he's just doing what he does. Is that okay for people to just expect that out of you and just forget how great you are? Because they see it every day.
It's not okay. But again, it's human nature. It's just, at the end of the day, we are humans and we're going to do very human things. And, you know, it's just going to happen. It's just the harsh reality of, you know, and here's the other thing. People aren't always going to be in a mental space to want to appreciate you, to want to recognize you. Maybe they going through something. Again, we human, you know, and sometimes we just don't want to celebrate others. Sometimes it's just, man, it is what it is. Human nature, man. Human nature is a real thing, and it's one of those things you can't. I think if the world was run by machines, you might even get more recognition than you do, or more appreciation than you do with humans, because at the end of the day, man, we that fatigue and that it just is what it is.
Okay. Let me ask you this: how often should you test the market? If you know that you have the value that you say you have and that you feel you have, how often should you test the market? Just before you answer, you look at sports. You know, LeBron. If LeBron wanted to sign 1-year contracts every year, he could, and there would be how many teams? There would be 32 teams trying to sign LeBron, and they wouldn't care who they small forward is. If LeBron's on the market, you going after him. So in a non-sports world, in a regular everyday society or whatnot, if you feel like you are the man at what you do, how often should you test the market?
That's a great question. So I'm going to take it here first. So I think the times have changed. I think, you know, back in the day, man, it was the right thing to do to get on at, you know, Exxon Mobil, work there for 30 years, get your 401k, get your pension, and move on, right? I think that's a very old school mentality. I don't think the new generation thinks like that. I think this new generation understands their value a lot more and tests the market more often than prior generations. But to answer that question, one, I wouldn't recommend that anybody test. You could test the market every year. I wouldn't recommend hopping jobs every year. It's different for a basketball player than for somebody that is actually building a resume, because job hopping it looks crazy on a resume. It'll look like you're the problem if you're at Exxon Mobil for a year, and now you're at Shell Mobil for a year. Now so you got to be careful with that, because too many jobs on a resume, an employer is going to think that you're the problem. But I think a sweet spot would be every 3 years. Maybe every 2 to 3 years, to really just see what's out there, because that'll help keep up with the actual market value. That's when salaries typically go up and whatnot. And then also you get to stay at your current job for a little bit and truly master it and truly get some value out of that before you move on to something else. And again, testing the market doesn't mean you're going to move jobs. It just means that, hey, you're seeing what's out there, and you're seeing what other companies may have to offer. But again, I would just tread lightly on, one, jumping on the first thing that pays you a little more. A lot of times it's a reason why it's paying you more. Maybe that company's desperate to fill this position and willing to pay you more. And then you get in there and you lose the job because you can't keep up with their demands. So, having said that, I would do a lot of research when you're testing the market. It's not just about money; it's about the right fit for you, for your family. There's just a whole lot to think about, man. And I think so many times we get caught up into just wanting to make more money, even if it's just $1 more an hour. Like, no, $1 more an hour is not worth the headache. $1 more an hour is not worth being stressed out. $1 more an hour. Like we've got to get out of that mentality, especially us as Black folks. We've got to be more level-headed than that when we're testing the market. Testing the market is, how does this better my situation holistically? Because again, a company can throw a dollar amount at you, but what are they going to hit you with on the back end? Is it going to pull you away from your family more? Is it going to convolute your headspace even more? Is it going to?
That's important.
Because if something's going to, because I've had situations where, I was making a great amount, like I had made a significant jump, but my mental space was totally different. I had peace at this other spot, but because this other spot waved a lot of money at me, I jumped on that, but I didn't realize. And it's being young and dumb, being, like I was telling you, that young 24, 25-year-old guy, hey, you're going to go chase the money, as to where, as a seasoned guy, I know it's more than about the money. It's about the benefits. It's about how much vacation time I'm getting, how much are you going to put in my 401k, how many hours am I going to have to put in at this job to complete this work? How often am I going to have to travel? How much is this going to take me? Like, all of those are things that you have to look at. You want to also know, why did the last person that was in this position leave? Because that's a true dictator. It truly tells a story of what you could possibly be getting into. If this person left because they couldn't handle the workload, okay, well, what was this workload like? Because it could be that person was trash and didn't want to do it, or it could be because the workload is insurmountable. And again, is that $1 more an hour really going to be worth that stress? And that'll be for you to decide. So, going back to your question, man, I think it's good to test the market frequently, because studies have shown that companies, if you stay with companies over a long period of time, you'll end up losing money because they're only going to increase you so much per year based on your annual reviews and whatnot, as to where another company sees your value because you have experience that you gained at this other company. So now they're going to bring you in because they're not going to have to train you as much. They're going to bring you in and pay you, maybe 10,000 more a year off top. So you don't want to shortchange yourself on the money piece of it, but money is not everything.
Yeah, man. You know what, man? My first teaching job, man. I worked at this school where I was one of two black men there, and they treated me like I was a Marine. They treated me like I was a firefighter. They valued me because they knew that in the teaching field, especially special ed, black men are hard to come by, especially straight black men, like stiff black men that, we cool, but don't play with us, because we can handle our business. Because they knew that if there was an issue, that we were protectors. And I tell you what, that job, I used to drive an hour a day to work, an hour there and an hour back. I sat in traffic. Excuse me. I sat in traffic, but I did it because they allowed me to do what I wanted to do. It was kind of like a no-brainer, the give I had to give by driving there, but the take for me was do what I want to do. I'm here. I'm king here, man. Had a child, left that job, and went to another job that I'm at now because they have a daycare there. I had a daycare, so it made sense for me to be there, closer to home. Workload increased. The same value that I once had, I don't have, but I should. But these people just not, I'm not going to say they're not recognizing it. They're not recognizing it. So now that I'm in a position to where I don't need that daycare anymore, I got the power. And hey man, I'm a free agent. Who coming with it, baby? Because I'm looking for a team that ain't this one,
Yeah.
And it's not my job. It's not my job to tell you as an employer my value. Oh, baby, you should see it. You got me in the building. You got your hands on me. You got first dibs. If you can't see that, it's not my job. It's not my job to grab your hand and hold it and tell you what you got, baby. I'm on the first thing smoking. Eat my dust. I'm out of here, man. And then once I'm gone, replace me. Like, hey, your boy Jay said, man, I heard, people saying they made Hove. Made Hove say, okay, so make another Hove.
Make another one.
Get another guy. Because sometimes we have to remember too, man. Sometimes you're working, you're this person with value, and you're working in a place of chaos and turmoil. It's toxic. You want to be there. You're so nuts that you want to be there. You want to give your value to turmoil. But the people who are in position don't recognize that you're here. They're just used to you. They're just used to you breaking records. But then when you leave them where they at, and they have time to reflect, like, wait a minute, I had it good, but I don't have it good no more because my value left. Now they got to deal with that. Now they got to hold that. Now they got to wear that jacket. Now they got to make another Hove. And it ain't that easy, baby. It ain't that easy, baby. I want to tell cats, man, you may not own the building, but if you bring some crazy value that's hard to replace, know your value and know that you can leave that building and take your value with you somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah.
That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
That's good stuff. So on the issue of value, what value do you think you bring? Like what specific value? Because you were talking, you're real confident, man. Like I
Oh
got the
yeah.
upper hand, I got leverage. What is that value in you that you possess?
Oh yeah. Me, number one, you talking about in my specific field? In my field, I'm a superhero. And I say that with confidence. When I walk in the building, I bring a sense of protection. I'm not no cake. We gonna be all right when I'm in the building. If there's a child lacking, I'm reaching in my pocket to get it. And if I don't have it in my pocket, I'm raising money to get it, to make sure that this child is taken care of. I've done that on several occasions. Huh? If this child needs a stern handling, I'm there to do that in love. Huh? I keep in touch with the parents. I've never met a parent that didn't love me. And I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I'm saying that I'm telling my story, man. I've never met a parent that didn't love me because I handle people's kids like a father figure. I know how to handle young girls. If you have a dad, I want his number. Shout out to your mom, but I want to talk to your dad because as a man who has a daughter, hey man, me and the man, I'm gonna keep it on the up and up and let him know that, hey man, I'm not with the funny stuff. I'm here to make sure that you're aware of what's going on with your child. I don't do this. This is a passion of mine, man. I love helping kids. I love helping the youth. I love taking them to another level. I'm not just teaching the curriculum. I'm teaching life skills, man. And I'm not talking about the children that can't do for themselves. I'm teaching real life skills. I'm teaching you about money. I'm teaching you to vote your interests. I'm not teaching you to vote. I'm teaching you to vote for things that benefit you and your people. I'm teaching you to look out for your mother. I'm teaching you, if you're a young man, I'm teaching you, young man, hey man, when you're talking to your sister, talk to her in love, talk to her in protection, because the way that you treat her is the way that another man, she's going to be expected to be treated by another man. Mm-hmm. That's powerful, dog. They don't put that in them textbooks, man. That's all me. That's all me when it comes to that, man. That's the value. That's value. That's value. You can't, hey, man, they don't pay me. They don't pay me to teach your child about Roth IRAs. Was you taught a Roth IRA in
no,
high
sir.
school?
Not even in college.
Imagine if you would have had that, if a young brother would have taught you that information at 15, 16, maybe you wouldn't have acted on it then, but maybe that would have stuck in your back of your mind so that when you got to a place of maturity, you was already familiar with that term. Mm-hmm. That's the value. Man, hey man, I go to work every day with a cape on, man. Every day.
Yeah. So earlier, and that's good stuff, man. Like that's incredible how you again, you star in your role, man. You're maximizing your gift every single day with these folks' kids. And that's beautiful because a lot of people in your position just coast and F them kids, you know what I'm saying? You know, so that's very respectable and man, that's great stuff. But I also heard you earlier, you were asking about appreciation. When you're a superhero like yourself, what makes you feel appreciated?
That's a good question. Appreciation. When you're a superhero.
Yeah, you said you come in with the cape on and you Captain Save a Kid. How can an organization appreciate you? Like, what'll make you feel appreciated?
Well, for me, in my particular position, I don't like having a bunch of paperwork. Let somebody else handle the paperwork, man. I know my value. I don't have to. I could go anywhere. I don't want to do paperwork. That could be a negotiating tool. And I'm learning now I can negotiate. Like when you're hot, you can negotiate. You could go somewhere and say, I don't want to do this because I'm hot. And if they want to bring you on, they'll bring you on. But appreciation, excuse me, just knowing that, hey, man, because because this guy puts his life on the line every day, because this person is a superhero, let me just take a little off of his plate. Let me take a little bit off of his plate, because his plate is fuller than everybody else's. He's going to be expected to protect us. He's going to be expected to if you need something fixed in there, that he probably going to bring a drill. He's probably going to be the one to jump your car if you need it. Because listen, when you're a man and you're a man of value, your workload extends beyond what's on your paperwork. You said it, man. You're a leader, man. If you're the man in the building and it's raining outside or something and it's dark, you probably, because you're a man of stature, you're a man of excellence, you probably gonna make sure that young women get to their cars safe or something. If there's no security in the building, you're the security. That's not in your job description, but you're the security. So your plate is always going to be full. Just take a little bit off my plate, man. Just a little bit. My plate could still be bigger than everybody else's. I know I'm going to have to handle more, but just take a little bit off. Sometimes it's not even about the money, man. Just make the situation. You want to, let me answer this clearly. Make me want to come to work every day. That's it. That's it. Don't take advantage of having Superman in the building. Don't put a bunch of hurdles in his way on purpose just because he can handle it. Superman can handle it. He may not want to jump them hurdles every day.
Yeah.
That's it. Just make him want to come. That's it. Pause. Make him want to come to work every day.
Man, that's great. You got anything else for the people this week?
Hey, man, know your value. That's what I got, man. Know your value. And let me give you one last question. And I'm asking because you're in a manager position. As a HR or overseer position, should managers have the final word? Should it be that's my word and I rule with an iron fist and this is what it is?
So I think as a manager leader, I think you should have an idea and a vision for, how the outcome should be. Me, myself, I never just come up with a vision and then it is what it is, right? I'm always going to meet with my team first and present and then get their feedback. Because a lot of times when you have that collaboration, that communication, your team can make your idea better, or they can tell you some potential roadblocks that could be in the way of your vision that you didn't think of, right? So they can always with the vision. And then again, people need to be led, and it's hard to lead people that aren't bought into something. So when you bring people in on the idea or on the concept or on the vision, and they feel like they're a part of it, it's going to be a lot easier for them to buy in and a lot easier for them to push this agenda forward.
I hear you, man. I want to say this last thing on that, man. I heard Swiss Beats talk, and he said when he used to, back in the 90s, whatever, when people had labels, Jay and Dame had Rockefeller, which was an extension of Def Jam. D and Wall had Rockefeller, Rough Riders.
Yeah.
He said that these major companies used to allow these rappers to have their own labels because they would work hard for their own labels, which would then trickle money back to the major label. That's it. To the people out there, sit with it. I don't have to explain that. Sit with that. Do what you want with it.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I think the overall message, if y'all don't take nothing else away from this, know your value. Know what you bring to the table. Be able to speak to what you bring to the table, right? Because it's very important not only to bring that value, but to be able to articulate what it is you bring to the table. Because sometimes people won't see it, but when you know what you do, you're able to speak to what you do. Hey, you're you're going to be a powerhouse. So know your value. Don't settle for anything that's beneath your value. We talked about testing the market. Testing the market is a very healthy thing to do if you bring value. So, Tuck, tell them where to find you.
Hey, man, breadtucklegacy.com, breadtucklegacy.com, man. Because of my crazy workload, man, I kind of slowed down on my blogs, but I'm coming back, man. I had to get my mental space back together, and I'm coming back, man. breadtucklegacy.com. Grab my book, man. Everything's on the website. Yeah.
That's what's up. Of course, you can find me at jarvissam.com, jarvissam.com. You heard me give some nuggets on leadership earlier. I got my leadership course on my website. If you click the shop portion of the website, you can check that out. A lot of good information in there. Anyway, jarvissam.com. You can also check me out on Instagram. That's jarvissam_. I post content on there almost every day. If it's not on my feed, it's going to be in the stories. So you can get inspired, laugh, see what I'm listening to, whatever on my Instagram, man. But check me out. Of course, thank you for listening wherever you're checking us out, whether it's Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you are, jarvissam.com. We appreciate you. Keep listening to us. Keep checking us out. But people, know your value.
Yeah.
Y'all take care.
Yeah, man.